Welcome to Docstalk.
A pair of besties who bonded over trauma.
I'm Dr. Bear.
And I'm Dr. Bunny. And today we're going to be talking about all the random things that we're going to be talking about on our podcast.
Yes, and we're called Docstalk because, as you can guess, we're doctors. Still have to go through residency, but we're doctors, MDs.
Definitely. And just a disclaimer right off the bat, we're the type of people that just talk and will have a lot of side tangents and stories. So we might start off somewhere and in a roundabout way end up back there, but with a bunch of fun stuff sprinkled in between.
Absolutely. We'll keep each other and yourselves on our toes somehow.
So we're going with code names to keep it anonymous because we want to be able to tell you guys funny stories about our life, like what we gone through while we were on the island or stateside without stepping on anyone's toes.
Yes, and we say the island because we studied medicine in the Caribbean. We won't say which school, but it was a Caribbean island that came with its own adventures and scary moments.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you'll get a couple stories even just today while we're talking about, what it was like when we first got to the island or how we met. But basically, we want to use this platform to, speak about our dreams, our passion for medicine, and random things like, we can talk about studying like materials. We can talk about how we studied, what we did on our off time. Believe it or not, we did have some off time.
Yes, more than we should have, but we did. It's good to balance life.
Definitely. So this will be kind of like a real life look into life of a med student, life of someone applying to the match, someone who will be in residency, so that you can kind of make the decision for yourself if this is something that you can apply to, or maybe we can answer some questions you might have before you want to be in this field.
Yes, and also just going to the Caribbean route, it's a lot of people don't know much about it, and there's so much negativity and stigma behind it that we kind of want to be pro that because we've both gone through it, and especially as Canadians, we have 10 medical schools in the whole country, so getting in is basically, as a perfect applicant, you might get a chance, so
it's definitely, it's competitive, but of course, if you're looking into medicine, that's probably something whether you're in the States or you're in Canada. And we kind of just want to keep it as real as possible because, like as Dr. Bear mentioned, I didn't know what I was setting foot for when I set foot on that island. Boy, was that a shocker.
I don't even know how I got myself on the island. I remember, I got accepted, and the first thing I did was go on Reddit, and it basically told me that you had a 95% chance of getting kicked out in the first semester, and I somehow still convinced myself to get on the plane and go to the strange island without knowing anyone. That's some kind of semester.
You went on Reddit and you researched this. I didn't do anything. I applied to a whole bunch of schools, got accepted to every single one, and then I was like, I think I want to go to this school, and then booked my tickets and did not look into anything. I did no research. So I at least had my dad with me. But
yeah, no, my family did not come. They don't like to fly. And I still remember that my second flight, it was, I was just sitting there and I think I had a flashing moment in my life and I was just like, where are you going? And I'm just like, I had this severe anxiety that I was going to be on this strange island. And, I've watched Lost and I'm just never going to come back home. It was a whole mess. I don't know how you felt. Well, at least you had your dad, which I've met. So I know he was really optimistic and tried to make you happy, which did not work.
No, you know what? Now that you mentioned sitting on for flights, I remember just being absolutely confused and just I don't know what I was feeling at that point that I'm on a plane, I'm with my dad. I was like, okay, at least I have my dad with me. But it just felt like I had like almost all my belongings in like two suitcases.
You had a lot of stuff. I
And
remember, like you were ready for that. You were
I
ready.
didn't know what was going to be on that island, so I needed to take my Canadian goodies with me. And he was making friends for me on the plane. My dad is
Was he the one
forever
that
making
wait?
my friends for me.
Was he the one that introduced us? Now that I remember, because I feel like I talked to your dad
Yes.
first.
Yes,
Because
so
he was
we
on the
met because of
bus.
my dad. Yeah, so
Yes.
on the plane, he did the same thing. So on one of the planes, obviously flying from, where I am to the island we were going
Hmm.
to, requires quite a lot of traveling. It's like two or three planes, two planes if I'm lucky. I was doing like my travel
Yours was
time on the
worse.
good end was
Yes.
12 hours. 12 hours on the good end
No, I
total.
was lucky, so mine was like 7 to 8 total. It wasn't as bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, you
And
sometimes you had like 3 flights and you would like have the longest layover. I would be so tired just thinking about it for you.
no, literally. And so that first flight, okay, it was just not hitting me yet. And the second flight to the actual island is when I was sitting down. It was me, my dad, and there was this other girl. And he was like, oh, like, this is my daughter. She's going to blah, 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 blah to study medicine. And the girl was like, oh my God, like, I'm going too. And so my dad made me like switch
Wait,
seats so I would sit next to her. And
was
like,
that who like I don't know what we should call her? Like
no,
was
no,
that
no, 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 no.
it,
It
it
was
wasn't
not.
it wasn't
It was
it
not.
wasn't
It
that?
was not her. No, no,
Oh,
no.
okay, okay.
This was this was someone completely
Do
different.
I know them?
You know more people than I do, so I think you know her. Yes, I think you know her, but like we haven't ever talked about her because she wasn't in our friend circle in our area, like
Did she
that.
live in our same complex?
No, no.
Okay, okay. What complex? Oh, I
Yeah.
can't even. I was gonna be like, what kind of complex does she live in? Let's just give away what island we went to. Okay, never mind.
But
Yes,
anyways,
we have
so
to be
yeah,
really careful because if you guys want interesting stories about like some of the interesting characters we met, we're gonna be a little bit on edge to not. We're not gonna use any like names or anything, but that's what'll keep it fun.
yeah, that will keep it fun. But yeah, so that's how I met you. So we were actually this. Sorry, see, as you know, like I mentioned, we're gonna have so many side stories.
This
So
was not even
we'll
like what
fast
we were
forward.
supposed. This is not even what we were supposed to talk about. I don't even know. Like we had a whole thing planned, and we've been so out of topic for this the whole thing.
I guess let's
But
just jump into how we met, and then we can kind of go back to our little notes of what we wanted our intro to actually be
so did
like.
we meet in the orientation, or when they took us on a little tour and then took us to the store?
No, so we met on the day of the orientation on the way back to our apartments. So
Like after they did that, what they called what so-called food or something that we stuffed down and got
yeah,
sick.
so
Mm,
we
okay.
we all went to campus on the bus, and we all
Yes.
sat down in that auditorium where every single one of us were there, and they had the audacity to say, okay, I want you to look to your left and I want you to look to your right, and half of these people won't be here with you at the end. You might not be
See,
here either.
I cannot believe you remember that because I was so traumatized from it that I blocked it out until you just mentioned it. Because I was just like, that's. I literally was like, I'm not even going to be here next week.
No, it's why I remember this is because I looked to my left and it was my dad, who was not supposed to be at this orientation. I snuck him in. I stuck him in on campus. He
Oh
was
my
not
god,
supposed to be. He was not allowed to be there.
did you just say he was a student?
Yeah, I just like kind of like walked in front of him and was like, yeah, we don't have our badges yet. And he was a student.
Oh my
But
god, I
anyway,
can't
so I
believe it.
looked to my left and I was like, yeah, he's not going to be here any soon. Why are you rubbing this in my face? And then I looked to my right and I'm like, wait, what you just said registered and it's damn rude.
But
Like,
it's really true in a way because, like, just if you think about the complex and all those people we stayed, I think we were in like the 10% of people who made it out. I don't like nobody else. Like everybody kept dropping.
I get that. And I do know that before I even started looking into Caribbean schools, I did realize that there are a lot of there was a high dropout rate, especially in the first year. These
Yes.
statistics have to be posted. I saw that. I anticipated it, but I just also was like,
Yes.
okay, I know that's not going to be me because I know I'm like extremely passionate and dedicated towards
See,
this.
good for you. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was like a shock every time I got promoted to the next semester. I'm not even joking. I was just like, oh, you're still in the thing. And then I would start a semester and be like, oh, we're in the danger zone again. And then I would pull myself out of it. And then I swear, even when I got to clinicals, I just didn't even think I would like move it on to the next. Like, I was never. I think it hit me once I passed step 2, and then I was like, hey, I think you're finishing now. Like, that's when it hit me. So it's good you came with confidence because I did not.
I came with confidence, I will say, but that island wrecked me. It destroyed me.
Yes.
I've always been very confident academically. I feel
See, I had
like
never. Mm.
I think that kind of was in my favor. You know, I was really confident in my ability to like make it through academically, except for like Med 3 when we had
What are you
that
talking? You
stupid
killed Met
exam.
3. You killed Met 3. What are you talking
I
about? I
know, but
I
that was the
I
first time
did
I pulled an all-nighter.
I ditched Met 3 was the one that was just a shock to myself because I think I ditched because that first exam was basically like I think destroyed my lifeline. Like it was basically like you're gonna kill the final exam or you're repeating the semester. And I think
Yeah,
God was
no, I
on my
felt the same
side.
way.
But you did well on the first exam. You passed it. That's and a pass is a 70. You guys don't think this is like no, it's 70. Like it's so hard to get already. But you got that.
Yeah,
Remember?
I know, but
Remember?
why
Remember
are we
that
getting
one?
into such heavy things right now? This is just so wild.
I don't know. I didn't
Jump
know we
right
ended up
into the
here.
middle of this.
There's a lot of stories that we'll talk about. But yeah, how did we end up here? We were talking about the bus.
Okay, let's just go back to the bus. Oh, we talked
Because
about
you
it
brought
because
up
we're like,
trauma.
it's so hard to like. I knew that I had a feeling that okay, academically, I know I would succeed. It would take a lot of work. I knew that
Oh,
it would take
okay.
effort, but I still had faith in myself that I would make it through. And I think that's how we
I,
kind of got here.
I know I worked hard and I really wanted it, but I'm not the best test taker, and that's
Which is
okay. I don't need to
totally
be.
okay.
It really is. I don't need to sit there and be like, oh, I got a 90. If I pass, I'm severely happy.
But also, sometimes you like, we went to school with people who were amazing test takers, but not good socially as people. Like, you know, like talking to them was extremely difficult, and you need to be able to talk to your physician. Like, I mean,
I'm
like,
sorry. This is a
communication
little
is
bit.
key.
This is a little bit off topic, but that's because you brought that up. I like remember that scenario where we were both in the emergency room and the other student was taking a history, and it was the worst history I've ever heard. The questions that she was asking while this patient was in pain, I was just like, "What? Did you rehearse like what we learned in Med 1 or something? This is literally real life situation." Like she literally asked, "Where do you live?" This guy was in pain, and I remember I couldn't even look
This
at you
guy
at the
was kind
moment.
of. This guy was like actually like semi severe, and like she was
Shortness of
sent down to
breath.
take his take his history, and I purposely made you come with me so you can witness what I witness on a daily and
It
actually
was so bad.
experience my cringe.
Yes, I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like clinicals was like better for me personally than taking an exam. I mean, like I've passed all the exams, so I can't like. But I'm not like one of those people who are like, "Yay, got a 90 something." I'm just like, that's not gonna happen
I tried
for
to
the
be that
thing.
overachiever, so I like really
But,
there were yeah, you know what?
but
Actually,
you
I
also
did
didn't go
hit them pretty
crazy.
good. I
But
didn't
you
go
didn't go
crazy.
crazy. You didn't. Like, I'm sorry to say, but like, there was people at our school who like thought it was a flex to be at the library from 7 a.m. to 5 a.m. and then to go home and for an hour shower and come back, and then they look like they were like
You
I
know
don't know if you've
what?
ever.
I'm glad you're talking about the people who decided to go home and shower. Because
Oh
remember the ones
no.
that wouldn't shower? We got emails
Yes, the school
telling
literally
us
sent
to
emails that you
maintain
need.
hygiene.
That's so embarrassing that a medical school had to email us and say you need proper hygiene. Like, first of all, we were on an island. You sweat walking to the car or to even to the next class. How are you not gonna go shower? Like, I feel like I couldn't sleep if I didn't shower that night. Were you the one
Um,
that had a filter in their shower?
yeah, I'm the one that had a filter in my shower.
Yeah, you were. And in your sink, right?
I have dry skin and
Oh,
it gets extremely itchy when I'm not using the water from my hometown because I'm a privileged girl with the best water in the world. Totally biased, but I feel like I have the best water in the country. And so when
yes.
I moved, it was not fun.
Did we
And
say
that's
where
the
we were from?
understatement of the year. No, we're not going to say where we're from. I just said I'm from Canada and you're also
Oh
from
no, that's
Canada.
what I
Did we
meant.
say
That's
that?
what I meant. Like we said, the countries. I was like, no, no, not where we're from, but like the countries. Yeah, we're Canadian. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So we are.
okay, yeah, if we didn't, yeah, if we didn't say it
Yeah.
already, we're Canadians.
I think we did because I mentioned like. See, I already forgot what I said. I think I mentioned that we only had 10 medical schools. Okay, okay. But yeah, she literally brought her own filters, and I think from the sink. And you would. I would like be fascinated that you would somehow enjoy deep cleaning your apartment. I remember you were like, I'm just gonna deep clean out of. Oh, I mean, like the stuff out of it, and you had one of the cleanest apartments in the complex.
Well, what else do you do when you're stressed? For me, when I'm stressed, I'm cleaning. And plus, like, I don't like bugs and stuff. I just like couldn't handle it. So it made me so like proud of myself that at least in one aspect of my life was organized, like my room and my apartment.
But you know what's so funny? That you had such bad luck when it came to insects, because I never did. I think the most I ever did was saw a lizard outside, but you've gone through lizards and spiders and frogs
Let's
and
let's let's save that
rats.
for let's save
Oh,
that for a
that's a whole different
future
story.
episode. Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
that is a whole episode on its own. Okay.
Like it just they
Um,
follow you everywhere you go.
let's
So yeah,
not talk
we're
about this right now.
so we're off topic again. So just like we were saying, like this is gonna be like just we're gonna have random topics that are gonna be informational. We'll talk about coming from different cultures. We're both non-Caucasian, and some of our life stories, and it's gonna be like just a fun podcast that we'll hope to keep going as we because we're both in the match cycle currently. So we're hoping to be residents next year. So we'll even hopefully keep this going and give you guys an inside scoop on that as well. So like keep bear with us.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun channel
Yeah,
for that as well.
it'll be a lot of recap on our crazy life in the last 5 years. It'll be hopefully um this is something that we kind of want to use this as a form of expression for ourselves, but also just like if we can spread any knowledge, why not? A little like
Yes.
kind of like informational thing. Because personally, when I'm on Instagram and I see all these other med students or like physicians who are like quote unquote like Insta famous or TikTok famous, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest, because a lot of the times they'll post a caption talking about how hard their life is. And I by no means am downplaying that. Like, yes, we have gone through some really traumatic and difficult things, as other
Hmm.
people who are not in the field might as well too. But they'll post a picture of them kind of like smiling or looking great, but with like such a caption. And I'm like, I understand that obviously you don't want to post an ugly picture of yourself crying, like snotting or whatever, but it's contradictory, and I feel like people are going to look at that picture and like resonate and remember the picture more than the caption, and so they'll be like, oh, like it can't be that bad if you're clearly having so much fun in an anatomy lab or XYZ. And so that's kind of what drives me as well to kind of want to stay anonymous, is like we want to be able to talk about these things freely without influencing you on or anybody on um what life. We kind of just want to give you our unfiltered version. Our Of course it's going to be our personal version, whatever we experienced, our feelings and emotions. Someone else's might be completely different, and they may have had a way better experience than I did or Dr. Bear did. But I feel like if you're just listening to our stories and like feeling the emotions the way we felt them, or maybe you might be able to resonate with it more than reading it on a caption and then looking at a picture of someone smiling or like doing something cool, completely fun.
No, absolutely. And I feel like we're a unique case because I feel like we both did this because we truly wanted it. I feel like we were our sole kind of motivational factor. And I feel like with that and knowing what we wanted, it was so stressful and anxiety driven and depression moments, and like I think what got us through it is we kept telling ourselves, like, you wanted this and this is for us. But I felt really bad for other people who had like parental pressures or from any pressures and telling them this is what they have to do and they weren't interested in it. And I feel like how I can't even picture doing something you really didn't want when I feel like it's one of the toughest fields to go into. Like, it's basically more than a decade of training and nobody really knows that.
Oh, 100%. It is an extremely difficult field. It tests you in so many different ways, and you'll go through things you never thought. Like, I've experienced depression. I have experienced
Mhm.
anxiety to levels I've never felt in my life.
Actual panic
These are
attacks.
normal things that, well, I don't want to call them normal because, of course, I would love to not have any of these feelings, but I want to say, like, I want to normalize it in the sense that, yes, we also, as physicians, as med students, we went through this.
Hmm.
So it isn't just the patients who have these feelings, but it's like so amplified if you're going through this, like going through medical school because your parents want you to do it,
Oh
or
yeah, no.
because you just want it for like the name of, I just want to be a doctor. I don't even want to do this job once I'm done, type of thing. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
if that will be enough motivation to get you through, because this is some
Yeah.
tough stuff.
Yeah, no, it really is. And like what I feel bad about is I know people who, if they failed an exam or if they had to repeat a semester, like they would literally be put down from their family. Like, I can't even imagine being like pushed to do something you didn't want to and then making them feel guilty. Like, whenever I failed an exam, like my family was so supportive. I never felt any guilt. Like, they were just like, it's okay, you'll do better on the next one or whatever. Like, I never felt like I had to prove something to anyone but myself. I don't know if I think you felt the same way.
Yeah, yeah, I was blessed. I am blessed with very supportive parents and family, like loved ones, my significant other. Everybody was so welcoming, so supportive of it. They were kind of always like, when I was the downer and just feeling like absolutely depressed and down low, they were always there to cheer me up and be like, "Listen, you can do this. Like, this is what you want. Just give it your best shot. That's all that matters." So I was lucky to have that supportive front. Um, and so I never had to see that end, but yeah, like just listening to it, like I can't imagine being so stressed about writing exams, learning all this material because it is hefty. And then having pressure from your parents for like instead of a little bit of not, I don't want to say sympathy, but like empathy, instead
Hmm.
getting like nagged and berated, that would be so
I couldn't even imagine.
demoralizing.
I couldn't even imagine myself going through it. Like, if I failed a test and then on top of that been felt guilty that I didn't work hard enough or that I was like messing around or something like that. I feel like that would have been a whole different scenario. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine it. Thank God we didn't have to go through that. The
I
thing.
guess, knock on wood, God bless
Oh yeah.
our
Oh my
souls.
God. I don't
Thankfully, we
have wood.
didn't have to.
Okay.
I knock on wood for us. That's okay.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Um, all right. I was just gonna say, like, we were in it because we were passionate about it, and I feel like that kind of helped us in the sense that at the end of the day, we were able to find that burning flame. Like, when I was really severely depressed to the point where I had no, like, there are times of my life, actually, that I don't know. It was just one time in my life where I was so depressed. I don't know where my days went. Like, I
Hmm.
don't have recollection or memory of that chunk of my life, where I was studying for step one and I was like extremely depressed. And so the fact that I had to kind of like, when it hit me that I don't remember where the last 3 months of my life went, or 2 months of my life went, and I remember it was when I was talking to you, and
Yes.
you
And I
reached out
felt
to
I
me.
felt there was something going on because like there would be gaps in our conversations. Like, you would come back every few weeks and like catch up, and I felt like there was definitely something going on. But you weren't ready to like share everything until like you were just done with it all.
I, I
Because
I
we were
didn't
talking
realize,
about it.
actually. Like,
Yeah.
you helped me realize, that, you know, like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, I haven't heard from you. Like, this doesn't
Mm-hmm.
seem like you seems a little different. Like, what's going on? And then I actually kind of thought about it and I realized I was like, hey, I feel like I haven't even been in my own life. I couldn't tell you what I did for the last 2.5, 3 months. I have no
Yeah, I
idea
remember.
what we even talked about. And that's kind of what woke me up. And I was like, kind of like woke up from that little feeling of like nothingness and numbness. And I was like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? and
Yeah.
and and I was able to pull on that passion for medicine and that I actually want to be a doctor, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of what helped me make that push to cross through, as well as my
No,
family,
absolutely. Yes,
because I
absolutely.
realized,
Because you really turned it around. Like, when you got it together, everything was smooth sailing until, you finished.
yeah,
So
I
like,
really just kind of realized before getting really depressed, I was hearing like a lot of this mentality where everybody was like, um, you know, medicine all day, every day. Your life is medicine, eat, sleep, repeat medicine. Like people
hmm
were like feeding that nonsense. I'm sorry, this is nonsense to me into my head, saying like, you know, like you're studying for a step, you should be doing nothing but studying all hours of the day, sleeping a little bit, waking up and just studying. And that's
oh
not
no.
feasible. That was not good for me. And so because I wasn't feeling like I was studying like that, I wasn't giving myself those breaks. I feel like that really just turned around on me really bad. And
hmm
and the way I got out of it was realizing like, you know what? I have a life outside of medicine.
Absolutely. Like, it can't all be about medicine, or you'll drive yourself insane.
It's not the most important thing in my life. I love
hmm
medicine, don't get me wrong. I love it. I love being a doctor. My job, my everything we've learned, I actually like thoroughly enjoy physiology and pathophys so much.
I'm gonna say
But
pathology. Physiology is not really it. I mean, it's a little hard for me.
I I love it. I really do. But I realized, you know what? At the end of the day, it's just a job, and it's I'm thankful I enjoy my job and what I'm
Yes.
studying,
Mhm.
but it's not my life. My blessings and my life are my family, my dog, my significant other, and my friends. And I
hmm
and I want to spend time with my family. I want to have that freedom to like hang out with my friends and be able to value my life. And that's when I developed a semblance of a work life balance, and that's when things started to fall into place. And I was
Absolutely.
able to
No, it's
pull
really
through.
important. Yes. No, I completely agree with you 100% because if you didn't have that balance, I feel like we would I don't even know what would happen. I just feel like
No,
I don't
I
know,
have
some
no
people
idea.
make this and like we like obviously we're going to make such a difference and we're going to be amazing to our patients, because we're passionate and we're kind people and we already know you're going to make a difference and be able to do that. But some people make this their like entire life. Like that's all they
I just
do.
hope that they're happy, to be honest, because being
That's
in that
true.
area where I wasn't, and now that I literally decided that after talking to you, like, you know what? Like, it's okay. Go out, enjoy your time. Like, just take a break, step away from this. That was
It's so
enough
funny
to be
because
like,
like 80% of the time you went out, we went out because like I was somehow involved in like you going out. And a
and
lot
the
of the
time you
times,
left me and I went out without you, it was horrendous. Okay.
yes, but I got a really good story out of it, which will be talked about with a lot of interesting characters, not now, but I just, everything you said was like something from a comedy film.
That is also for that'll be tabled for like further in a couple episodes
It's,
in. I'll definitely
it's
share
okay.
that story with this.
At least you were smart, and I decided that it would be smart to somehow take like a few days and go see my family because I was just so homesick. And I remember I paid $1,700 for that flight for a few days, and
Listen. No regret. You have no
And no,
regret.
I do not. And my mom was on my side. And then I was like to my dad, yeah, this is how much he was. And he thought I was joking until he saw the bill. It's like, this was meant for my mental health.
I was jealous. I do not care how much money you dropped on that. I was like, it's worth it. I know there's gonna be no regrets. I was jealous
And you know, I
because
wasn't the
the
only
whole
one. A lot of
yeah.
students left because of the same reason.
But see, you guys were lucky enough that you can still spend time at home. I would have been traveling to and from home the whole time, and I wouldn't
Yeah,
have actually been able to spend any time at home.
yeah, no, that's
So
true.
I didn't have that option.
But I never did it again because it was just too expensive. So it was just that one time.
But you know what? It was I listen, that's what
But
I
now
mean.
that
Like
I
we need to
like,
balance our life and if you need your family and your support group near you and that's what's going to
yeah,
help you, then by all means like prioritize these things in your life.
I was never away from them for that long, so I wasn't like used to it. I was just like, I need to see them. Even if I think I was
Mhm.
gone for like 3 days, I think just the weekend. But I was like, this needs to happen because like, but then now that I realize it, like, I just feel like $1,700 is pretty crazy. Like, it's really crazy to spend on a
That's
few
a ludicrous
days.
amount of money. That
I
is a
don't know what
ludicrous
happened.
amount of money.
I think I blacked out when I booked it, and then I was too late. Like, like there was no way now in my common sense would spend $1,700 to go home for a few days.
I don't want to equate this to common sense because our life on that
You would
island
never
was
do that, I feel.
horrendous.
I
It
feel
was
like you would.
listen, if I had the opportunity to spend a couple of days at home, I would have sold my kidney to do it, okay? Like, I mean, I'm serious when I say that. It just wasn't even feasible for me to travel 12 hours to go home, spend 12 hours there, and then travel 12 hours back. That's like a solid 36 hours. Like, and that's the only time we had off anyways in between exams. So it
I
just didn't
never
make any sense.
understood people who were like, "Oh, I'm gonna like go home after like a week or so because like I just want to enjoy my time." And I was just like, "Get me out of here!" I think every time I was on the next morning flight out before we would take the exam, and the next day I was at the airport.
Yeah, and then there were people who would leave the day of the exam, and I'm like, listen, y'all are ballsy because we've been screwed over by exams in the first semester that I was like, hey, I've had like exams canceled or rescheduled. I will never book an exam,
Oh, I got
a
lucky
flight
on
out on the day of the exam.
yeah, you had an issue with your first one, but I was lucky because I wasn't there. So if God forbid they were, I would have missed it, I feel.
Well, they rescheduled it like over a month later. It was so dumb. We had already moved on to
Oh,
neuro and I was getting rescheduled. This happened to a different like batch, like a different semester, but I've heard
mhm.
of it happening where like people who would fly out the day of the exam, if there's some sort of technical glitch and they're like, "Hey, you got to come back tomorrow" or something whatever. Um Actually, the school was never that organized. They always had to write the exam, like they had to come back early from their break and write it. That sucks royally because I was like, not happening, buddy. I'm not coming back earlier than I absolutely need to.
Oh no, 100% agreed. Like I no. And then you were just always like so on edge of what was going to happen. I feel like it just never ran smoothly in a way, like ever. Again,
Yeah,
we're so off topic
I
right
don't
now.
think so.
So as we're talking about this, I feel like we're going to be a good platform on like being a spokesperson for, you know, cutting the stigma for Caribbean schools because I don't really like we're already titled IMGs and you and I are even worse because we're labeled as non-US IMGs, which I don't even like that word at all because like I don't get it. First of all, we take the same exams, we study the same material, and we rotate. All our clinical years are in the US. So what's really the difference that we're studying the material in a different location? That's we're studying the same material. And I just hate the
I
stigma around it to think like,
I
oh, you're not
will
as good.
I want to say though this is going to be maybe a little bit controversial that in a way it is harder for us who are going to Caribbean schools than those who were able to get into Canadian or US based medical schools.
No, well, that's the truth.
I'm not trying to say this to like say we're better, you're better. No, we're all just trying to make it through. We're all at the end of the day studying medicine, which is hard regardless of where you do it. But being at a US or Canadian school, you have this backing from your institution that's
Mhm.
a little bit more secure than coming from a Caribbean school.
Yes,
And
definitely. And they have it where you will finish in 4 years because they're so organized.
yeah, so
We're not allowed to start clinicals until we pass the first boards, but in the US or Canada, you can start clinicals before even taking, like for most schools, like before even taking the first exam, the first boards. So I
yeah,
feel like that already holds us back.
yeah, and oh, actually, for those of you who are not sure what IMG means, it means international medical graduate, and so non-US just means we don't have a US citizenship, and we're also
Yes.
international medical graduates.
Which has been
And since we're
making this
applying,
match super fun.
yes, it's match has been it's just been not anything that I imagined. We're lucky and thankful for all the interview opportunities that we have gotten. We are in a better boat
We've
than quite a few of our counterparts, non-US
yes.
IMGs. We're doing much better.
Yes, our
But
number is
there's a
definitely great.
but there's still a discrepancy between US citizen IMGs and us, who went to the same school as us and who may or may not have been better, or the same level students as us may have been a little not as good. I don't know. Like, let's not even get into
No,
judgments, but
and you don't even have to sponsor us. We're sponsored through ECFMG. I don't know if I'm allowed to, like, yeah, that's the truth. That's who sponsors our visas. So I'm just like, what's the issue that we're not even, like, the hospital doesn't sponsor us. We have to pay for our own visa. We do it through this, what I just said. And I'm just like, how can you say that, oh, you don't accept non-US IMGs? Like, it doesn't make any sense. When we took your exams, like, I don't know,
yeah,
but
it's
I'm really
I
grateful
I
there's programs who have invited us and are very accepting. Like, I thank you because we wouldn't have gotten the number of interviews we have if it wasn't for these programs.
which, considering I think we have a real solid amount of interviews, so like we're lucky on that front, but it's also just like we'll do a whole episode just talking about the match this year.
Yes, definitely.
But
Because there's just,
just kind of going overview wise, a lot of our US IMG friends counterparts have gotten a lot more opportunities in geographical areas they wanted.
yes.
They've been lucky in this. I don't know if it's lucky, but like there is a difference because they've applied to less programs, gotten the
Mhm.
same amount of interviews. So that means spending less money and still getting the same amount of interviews versus us who have spent crazy amount of monies applying to so many programs. Like I'm talking over 100 programs and getting
And
the
I
same
don't know
amount of
about you,
interviews.
but I got taxed because of so they taxed
Yes,
me
yes. They
on
taxed
ERAS
us just
for
because
a
we're not
thousand
Canadian.
dollars
Yeah, I my tax was
US.
not that much,
No,
but
no, because
my
I applied
tax,
to more
because it,
programs.
yeah, but we got taxed in US dollars because we're not
Yes.
US citizens.
I just don't even understand what that fee is. Like, why is there a tax? What did we tax? Was something mailed that I don't know about? What was taxed? Me sending submit? I don't get it.
This whole match system is flawed to the max.
Yes.
And if
But
you
I
guys
feel like
ever have questions about it,
mhm.
please let
We are
us
going to
know
provide an email. I don't know, like, how do we do? We will have an email.
in the description.
Our podcast will be on. We're trying to get it on like Spotify, Apple, and then maybe some clips on like TikTok or Instagram, and then we'll have like an email there that you guys can kind of ask questions. But I feel like since we're going through the match, we have a good understanding of like the steps because even like getting our ECFMG certificate, nobody really guided us to that. I was so confused. Like there's so many steps that you don't know about. So we will, like Dr. Bunny said, we will make like a detailed list and help you guys out, whoever's applying to future matches. I feel like I wish somebody did that for us. I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody has. I just haven't found it.
I mean, I've been blessed. Dr. Bear has been my go-to source for information. He has given me all the steps in like it's like dummies applying to the match version. Like he will break it down for me and will be like, "Hey, make sure you do this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. I had no idea, but yeah, definitely." So, it's made a difference. It's really nice when you know someone who's going through something similar. Um and like it's
Especially
just
to
having
Canadians, because like I feel like we understand what's happening. Like I don't know. I feel like we can't really compare ourselves to our US IMG counterparts. But like, I'm not gonna lie to you. The majority of US IMGs that I know, we're at the same number of interviews as them, like in the double digits. So I feel like we should be a little bit happy about that in a
Definitely.
way.
Yeah, I know. We need to be happy about it. We obviously have our little gripes with
Like,
it,
why
but
would like? I know statistics say you have a good chance if you're like at 6 or 8, but do you have a fear that you might not match? I do. I don't know why. Like, my interviews have been going well. I'm very confident with them, but it's just being my status, the non. I just feel like I don't know. Like, I have a little fear. I don't know. Do you feel that? Or are you like
well,
confident we're okay?
I'm confident we're okay.
Okay,
I
I feel
feel
like
like we're both gonna match and it'll be fine. Here's where I'm like, I'm I'm afraid of not matching where I want. Because I want to be close to home. I want to be close to my family.
no.
We've been away from the house for 5 years. So we want to be
I know.
close to
Yes.
our family. We're real
No.
strong. We have strong ties with our families. Both of us
We
are
really
very,
do.
very big homebodies.
Yes. They're
Um,
like our own therapy, I think, people.
sometimes they sometimes the reason we need therapy.
Yes, that is very true. But I feel like they've been really supportive, especially now. We've been a little bit crazy. And just like, I feel like I would just, if they breathed, I feel like I get heated and they didn't do anything. So I have to like be like, Dr. Bear, like, let's calm down. They didn't do anything. Like, you're just overwhelmed.
No, I agree. I agree. Definitely. I mean, we're super close to our family, so I feel like the fear for me is not getting where I want to be, not getting an interview in places that I've really been banking on, geographically.
Hmm.
And if I do get the interview with them, I'm afraid of not matching there. I know we're gonna match. I'm very confident on that.
So
It's
are you
just kind of
confident? Do you
the
think we have good
I
numbers?
am.
Okay.
I
I'm a
think we'll
little
match.
I
I
know,
just
and I
don't know
know
where.
people say, I know because people always say like 6 to 8 is safe that you'll 99% pass, I mean, match, and we're way ahead of that number. But I don't know, I feel like I always feel like things aren't going to work out. I don't know why. I've always felt that. So every time something does work out, I'm just like, wow, okay. I don't know. I guess it's of
You
my
think
entire, I don't know.
You think it's something like if you set the like bars low or the expectation low, like there's less room for disappointment and it's more for like you're that much happier when it happens?
I don't know. I think I'm just in shock that I actually finished. I don't know. It still doesn't feel real that like we're sitting here with our Doctor of Medicine degree. Like I just to this day I'm just like you actually made it. I don't know. Like I don't know whether to get like I don't know. Like I know you're like you were confident and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this, but I'm just like I got it and I'm just
I
like,
don't
is
feel
this
any
real?
different. I know what you mean. Like we have the degree, we're both doctors, but I don't feel any different. I still
I
feel
know
it's
I
not
don't.
imposter syndrome speaking right now. Like we still feel like that med student who's like, you
I
really
didn't
gonna trust
feel
me with this?
I didn't feel anything when I finished. Did you? I didn't feel anything. I was just like, where was I going with this? Where it's like, you're a doctor now, Dr. Bear. And I'm just like, am I? No, like, please don't call me that.
Yeah, I still feel that way. It's still I feel like I'm trying to say it out loud a little bit more where it's like I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor and I'm hoping that like, if I'm talking to my family or whatever, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a doctor now." And it's like, but I don't know if that's working in any way because I still feel the same.
I'm afraid
I guess
because, like,
maybe
we. I feel like they're never going to take my medical advice in a way because they don't right now. And they just think they're always right. And I feel like I can never I don't want them to come to me in the future because I'm gonna get so frustrated. They're gonna be like, "Oh, I have a headache. Can you give me antibiotics?" They think that's the treatment for everything, and I just feel like I'm gonna lose it. I will.
I think that's like my dad. And my mom was like, my mom actually listens to me. So it's the opposite. My mom comes to me a lot for her, like, uh, anything. And I'll be like, oh man, another question, another one. Like, I just need to take a break right now. Of course, I like will answer all her questions because what's the point of going through a degree if you can't help your own family with the stuff, you know? But
Mine don't even
she
listen.
listens. So
Okay,
mine
good. At least
listen,
you have that.
thankfully.
Oh no,
Yeah.
mine is like anti-doctor. I feel like she would literally lecture us when we were kids, and she was just like, "You can do whatever you want in your life. You just don't become a doctor." So I clearly did not listen. But yeah, she doesn't really like them. But she goes and she gets checked and does all her stuff, but she just always is pissed. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. If she has a doctor's appointment, like just her day is ruined for that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
your
no.
mom doesn't want you to be a doctor. So like you're that like oddball, like your family did not want you to go this route.
No, and then they never said which route I should take. Like it was like do your own thing. Just I think all they cared about was safety and happiness and just a normal life, which I don't think I owned up to that. No, I did this like I literally made them send me off to an island. Like my mom was really not happy about that. She was trying to talk me out of it. So like just like yeah, I don't know. But I feel like
Yeah.
you're
I still feel like, even if she didn't want you to do it, one, you're extremely passionate about it, and two, she was
Mhm.
still at the end of the day so supportive. So supportive of
Yes,
you.
yes, yes.
And
I'm
I think
very
that in
grateful for
itself is
that.
a blessing.
Yes, yes, I really do agree with that. Yeah, we're way off topic again. So we're like that was like our little. So this is what you're kind of gonna get from us, like very random stories and very like informational. Just because we have like a lot of positive things to say about the Caribbean route. Just because they say like, but it won't be our entire channel, but the emphasis of it now because like we're going through it and we just finished with it, so that's what we're gonna have. But it's like, yes, it's easier to get into a Caribbean school, like it is, but it's 1,000 times harder to actually stay and finish and make it out. Like
Because
I literally call it the Hunger Games. We are
yeah,
like the
we don't
real
get
life.
support.
No, like we're like Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games. Like, and we made it out. Like it's just that's what it is. And I feel
We
like
never
a
got
lot of
that
no, we weren't
support
like
from
each
our
other's
school.
support system. That no, we did not. And I feel like I feel like that's every Caribbean school just because we've met so many people from different ones and I feel like they all say the same thing. But I feel like it's not like they lied about it or something. Like I feel like we knew that was the case before even going. Like it was
I'm gonna
more
say I did not think they would be that cutthroat and
because you
that
didn't go on Reddit.
disgusting.
Because you didn't go on Reddit. That's why. I
It
was
is a
prepared.
business. They do
Yes.
not care about you. They just want your money. That's all that matters to them. It is on you to get through this school on your own with your friends. Like they leave you to your own devices. If you don't do well, that is your fault. The school is not taking
Yes.
any accountability and they are not supporting you in any way.
But I will give them that
But
because I will give. There's a lot of I feel like for personally false information that's like they are trying to screw you over with these exams. But I never felt like I took an unfair exam. If I did good, I knew the material. If I did bad, that was on me. I don't think I ever thought the school was trying to make you fail. I feel like they did that to themselves. Like I've passed, I failed exams, but I never blamed the school for it. I always blamed myself. I don't know if you felt the same way, but they were always fair when it came to that.
I agree to that if I didn't do as well on an exam, I felt like it might have been me not knowing my material or not having enough time to cover it because it is a lot of material.
A
But
lot,
I
yes.
will say that the school does not do a good job of teaching you. I will say I've taught
Mm,
myself medicine
mhm.
through external resources, which was supplemented very, 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 very lightly by the school's lectures. They were not that helpful at all.
See, I
But there
didn't do
were
that
some.
until I was crazy that I actually somehow studied the school's lectures in the first year because I had no idea that there was like boards and beyond in Kaplan. I didn't know that.
Thankfully, someone in the building who lived in the apartment next to me was like, "Girl, open your eyes. Do not use this stuff. Use this stuff." Gave me a bunch of information. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I started using that and I supplemented school lectures kind of just to make sure that there's not some details that I missed out. Very time consuming, but majority almost okay, all of my learning came from not really the school, but like myself. And I had a couple
Mhm.
professors, we had a couple of them that were really good
Very good ones. Yes, I give you that.
that there was like only maybe 2 or 3 that were so good that I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna listen to everything that you have to say, all your
Mhm.
lectures, anything that comes out of your mouth, I am like, it is gold."
You had a
But
really
then
good
there
one in
was
one
like
of the semesters. It was like your best
Mhm.
semester just because of who you had, and I feel like you really like
But
did
he was
excellent.
not everyone's cup of tea. That man was very disciplined, very, very strict, and old-fashioned.
Yes, yes, yes. I
And
know,
so
I know.
you
You were
had to be
targeted a
like
few times.
dedicated. Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy, but okay. That's like, but yeah.
So basically, you'll know as of today's episode, we're extremely chaotic. This is chaotic. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be informational.
Hmm.
It's chaotic because we kind of want to give you sprinkles of everything that we're talking about. For
Yes,
our next couple of episodes, we're gonna have a little bit more. We're gonna have more structure. Not a little bit. We're probably gonna have more structure
yes.
where
This
we're
was
gonna
just
have
our intro.
certain topics to
Mhm.
stick to,
Yeah,
and we'll only focus on that one topic with side stories on that one topic versus leading you guys on a merry chase of like a plethora of topics like what this introduction is right now.
yes.
Um,
And I
I
feel like
think
it's a
let's
good one because like it shows our personalities. It really
yeah,
does. Like I feel like this is what you're gonna get, and hopefully that's entertaining. We probably won't be everybody's cup of tea, but we'll be some people's cup of tea. And you know, we're anonymous now, but like have this podcast like really, really go viral or you mainstream, then we will reveal ourselves. We will not. Can you imagine? We'll get invited to the coolest things. Why not?
I mean, if we ever get there, cool. I have no like I don't want to like sound like a downer, but I don't really have like aspirations to be like the big next big thing. I
Hey,
would
listen,
love
we are
if
going to be
people
on
listen
every
to
social
us.
media. We will promote this. People will love
We
this
can't
somehow.
promote this without giving ourselves away.
No, by promoting, I mean we will put some clips on different social media domains,
Okay,
and then like
okay,
that. No, no, no.
okay.
I'm
It's
afraid if somebody actually knows it's us, and then they'll be like, message us one day, is this your podcast? Like, I'm just gonna feel like I don't know, I'm not gonna know how I'm gonna handle this.
I think that's more easily handled than what if someone starts commenting on whatever we post and saying, "Hey, it's so and we're just like, no, no,
Oh
no,
boy.
no."
Well, I feel like we're never going to really discuss anything controversial and it's all going to be fun and games. And I feel like any trauma we talk about will 100% involve us going through it. So I feel like that's a lot to talk about
That's true.
for it. Yeah.
Let's I think let's do a little short story and wrap this up soon. We've been rambling your guys' ear off, but I really want to
Yeah.
finish the story of how we met because I just realized poor people have been listening for like I don't know 50 minutes and we haven't told them how we met.
So it was your dad. Because
So this
he
is what
was, I
happened.
remember. Yeah, yeah, go tell it. I think you have a better memory.
I'll tell you this story. I remember this
Okay.
one because we finished that orientation lecture where they're like, look left, look right, half of you guys won't be here anymore, blah, 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 blah. Scared us
Hmm.
a lot. So we left, then had our little refreshments they offered us. We were going back to our complex. We sat on the bus. And the bus was a little weird. It had like single seats on the left and it had double seats on the right.
You know what was
So
funny? Sorry
my
to cut you off. You know what was funny? That bus never had enough seats for the students. It never. Like
it
there was
never
sometimes where people
did.
sat on the floor. I was just like, is this really our life right now? Sorry, go.
Oh my God, no, yeah, because of that stupid bus, like so many people ended up getting cars, and then I would like bum rides off of people because the bus would be full. Until like a lot of people got cars, then the bus got empty, and I was like, okay, I can take this normally now.
It got really better once I got a car. I feel like I told myself I never would because I'm like, I'm not driving on the island. But I feel like it got easier. But you also drove. We both did. Like
No,
you.
no. I told myself I was never gonna drive on that island, and I never drove a car on that island. I never drove
Wait,
on that
I
island.
thought I
Nope,
thought
I never drove on
like
that
you
island.
guys you never drove on the island. I'm in severe
I never drove
shock.
on
I
the
really
island.
thought you did.
No. The roads were so bad. I didn't want to put myself through that. I did not subject myself to that.
Oh
Like
my
no.
god. I have a
You
story
guys
about
drove
that in a
me
different
everywhere.
podcast.
You guys drove me everywhere. Everybody
Was
used
it?
to come up to our house and be like, "Hey, like let's go. I'm driving you." And no questions asked. When people would ask me like, "Hey, come out with us. Come out with us. Like, can you please
Mm,
come out with us?" Because I never used to go anywhere. I never liked going places. So if they wanted me to come out, like people would show up to my house and be like, "Listen, you got to come with us." And like they would drive me everywhere because one, I didn't have a car, and two, like that was the only way to get
I
them to make me go places. Otherwise, I would be like, "No, I'm staying at home."
I literally thought you drove. I don't know why. I'm just mind baffled that you've never driven on the island. Oh wow! I don't know. I thought you did. Okay, good to know.
Well, no, I didn't. But anyways, back to the bus.
Oh yeah,
So
see what I mean? Yeah. Okay.
you and I were sitting on the right side, and my dad was sitting on the single seat
Yes.
on the left,
Yes,
talking
he
to your
was.
roommate. He
Yes.
talked to your roommate first. My dad
Yes.
loved where this person was from, where your roommate was from, because my dad and your
Yes.
roommate are from the same place. And so they were
Yes.
bonding, like I mean
Yes.
bonding
Trying to
over
be
that.
positive while we were just in shock.
Yes. And so my dad's just like, "That's my daughter right there. Hey, like, Dr. Bunny, this is blah, blah, blah. Like, be friends." And I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah, he was making
sure."
friends with you, and
And I'm like,
there was that other girl that like somehow we thought we were gonna connect, and then she just went AWOL like 3 weeks in.
she
Like, what
went
happened to
so
her?
AWOL. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I know exactly who you're talking about.
because I thought we would like somehow maintain some kind of community. I ended up seeing her a few times in clinicals, but like on the island,
I
she
saw her
did some.
twice.
Huh?
I only saw
Oh,
her
you
twice
saw?
during clinicals.
Yeah, but she like disappeared, and you and her seemed like you were gonna be friends. I thought it would go somewhere, and then I remember like 3 weeks, and you were just like, I don't even know where she is. Like, okay,
No, seriously. But yeah, so my dad was like making my friends for me, and then your roommate was like, "Oh, that's my roommate right there. He's from Canada." And as soon as he said he's from Canada, boy, did I turn my head, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Bunny. I'm from Canada too." And we were just like, then like we started talking to each other, and we talked the whole bus ride back home, just
you
kind of
did.
talking about like where are we right now, what the hell have we signed up for,
Hmm.
and
I was in severe
um
denial the first like few weeks.
we
Like,
were in denial like our more than that, okay, like
and I felt like every time we came back for our new semester, it's like we were in shock all over again. Like, we're back.
no,
How did this happen?
i I just want to like, I think we can end on this in a bit, but I just want to let people know, like, I know you guys might think I'm being dramatic, but that island was traumatic for me. I
No,
have
same.
PTSD about being on that island. I have dreams to this day. I have not set foot on that island since COVID broke out and we were
Yes.
blessed and able to go back home. So since
Yes.
2020, it's been no, it has almost been 4 years, okay? And in 4 years, I
Hmm.
am still petrified by the thought of having to go to that island again.
You know what drives me crazy? When people we went to school with are like, they have gone back to vacation or be like, I can't wait to go back. I would never step foot there again. There's other islands out there. I don't think mentally I can't step foot into that island. That's not going to happen.
I am getting nauseous just talking about this right now. Like, oh my God, like my body is rejecting the idea of having to visit. I get dreams that and it's the same dream every single time. Do you want to hear it? I'm pretty sure I've told you, but do you want to hear it?
Yeah, maybe you did. I'm trying to remember.
Okay, so basically, in my dream, it'll be there's some paperwork that has to be done that requires me to physically go back to the island, and I have to physically sign these papers. I cannot e-sign them.
Oh, you told me. Yes, you've told me that
Yes. And
before.
so, in this dream, I don't go to the island to sign these papers by myself. I take my siblings, two siblings, I
Hmm.
take them both, and my mom. For some reason, my dad's just not in this dream. I guess he's lucky. I don't know. I wish I wasn't in the dream either. But we go back. So we all fly back to this island, and ironically, we fly back on and land at night. And the next morning, we go to sign the papers, and we're supposed to leave that same day. So I'm not joking when I say that we're on this island like for 24 hours before we all four of us are supposed to do a freaking 12 to 15 hour flight back home. Okay. In my dream, that's like I'm on a mission. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we land on the island. We stay the night in this like random resort room thing. And we go in the next morning. I sign my papers and we go towards. Oh, there's a variation to this dream. There's one where if I had to stay oh no, okay, here's what so yeah, there's a variation to this dream. The dream has gotten shorter. The dream's gotten shorter. So there was one version of it where, okay, I signed my paperwork, we all go back to the hotel, not to the hotel, sorry, we go back to the airport and we're supposed to hop on the flight. Turns out my brother did not buy a return flight or something. I don't know, or like bought it for the wrong day. I don't know what it is. I just picture I am like crying, like bawling my eyes out, on the verge of a panic attack, while my siblings are behind me and my mom's next to me, saying at the airport counter, just telling the lady, "I don't care where you send me. Get me off this island. Give me the next flight out into America or Canada. I don't care where it is. I want to be off of this island."
Or another island.
No, like I just need to be gone. Like I don't even want to be on another island. Like I was like, I need to be out of here. And I'm crying, like yelling and crying. And the lady will be like, "There are no more flights out of this airport right now today." And I'll one variation lately, it's the last couple of times I've had this dream, is like I wake up like extremely panicked at that moment, like on the verge of tears. In real life, I wake up like panicked that I'm trapped. Like for anybody who has claustrophobia and that moment of like panic where you feel like everything's closing in on you and you have nowhere to go, I wake up like that. And
that's probably how you felt like every semester. Like we just were never gonna get out.
And the other variation to this dream is, so they end up like saying there's no flight out tonight, you can't get off, and I'm like crying, and they are able to book us the next flight out in the morning. Mm-hmm. But there's nowhere to go, there's no place to stay because the resort rooms are all full, and we had to break in and stay in my old place that I lived in with my roommate.
I would have stayed on the island. I mean, I would have stayed at the airport.
Yeah, well, I don't know why. Well, you know, that place was so close to the airport, so I don't know. My dream just wanted to my dream wanted to torture me.
And it's so sad you're still having it.
I haven't had it in a while. I will say it's a blessing. I haven't had it in a couple of months at least.
Little recovery phase.
Months, yes. I know, guys, this is gonna sound so dramatic, but like honestly, like I have PTSD for that island. I could not visit ever. Like I would break down.
No, I feel like I would have a full-on panic attack just if I landed there. Like I feel like they would have to turn like around and like go back. Like that wouldn't work out. So it just baffles me that other people are like, "Oh, we need to go back and just the memories." It's like, what memories do you want to revisit here?
Nothing. We're revisiting these memories from the comfort of our homes right now, and I'm telling you, my body is just like, why are we talking about this traumatic?
Yeah, no, I know. And I feel like this is gonna bring up, like, as more stories we tell, it's gonna be like, yeah, no, it's gonna be like an emotional / hilarious just story time.
If we can make you guys laugh at our trauma, I mean, sure. By all means, if you guys enjoy this, at least someone's having fun.
Yes. Yes, we're gonna bring you a lot of, like, a little bit of everything, which is nice. But I feel like it's good. They got, like, a little bit of sense of who we are, I think.
Yeah, we're a bunch of goofballs who tell crazy stories in the sense that they're like never ending. If you
Yeah.
want a A to B type of story with like nothing in between, we're not your people.
No, and we will do our best to try to make this not as long as possible. Like, I low-key did not think this would last this long. We've been talking for a while. I don't know why I didn't expect it to
We've
run
been
this
talking
long.
for I think an hour and 4 or 5 minutes right now, so I think
That's
this would be a
ins.
great time to wrap it up. But yeah, we've really
Yeah.
just been chatting.
Yes, we will. I hope you guys enjoy it, and if it reaches one person, I'm happy.
Well, it's gonna reach the people that we're gonna send it to who know that it's us, like the select few people who will have the
So I wanted to talk
opportunity
to
to know
you.
that it's
I wanted
us.
to talk to you about that. Are you telling any of your friends? Because I wasn't sure. Like, can
I'm
I?
not telling any of my friends except for like my significant other, um, and like like a cousin or two, and
So
like a bestie or two. So I'd say like 5 people, like a handful of people are gonna know. But I trust these people not to say anything about who we are.
okay, because I have two of them too, and I knew them before they came to our school. So like they're like my
That's
closest people
okay.
here. So
I'm
I feel
I'm
like
I'm
they are
totally,
from our
yeah.
school, but like they're not. I knew them before. Like they went
I
to
mean,
our
those
school
are the
because of me.
perfect people to be featured on our podcast. And like we hope to have guests as well. So that's something that like,
Yes.
for example, like I would love to have my significant other come in and kind of put his input in on like what his experience was like being
Yeah.
in a long-term relationship with someone who is like not even in the country for 5 months at a time, you know? Like
Yeah.
of course you're going to get my input on it, but like being in the medical field, like in medical school, we had a busy life, it was hectic. Like yes, obviously I missed him and my family, but there were also like I guess I didn't have, because it was so much like of being in school and
Mhm.
being in the hospital, that we didn't have too much of the opportunity to have like we didn't have family around us. We never had family gatherings. I always had FOMO and
No.
missed out on that. But I
Mhm.
would love to, like, maybe you guys would want to know or will resonate with someone who is on the other side, who is on those at those family gatherings without their significant other, and like how that may have felt, you know?
Absolutely. And just like I feel like we did a good job in that, you and I, because I kept in touch with people from back home almost every day. Like, I never understood people who were like, "Oh, I only have time to call them once a week." I'm like, what kind of analogy is that? Like, we have time. You can talk to your family every day. They're not that busy people. Like, they need to relax on what they think like medical school is. That it's just you make it your life. Like, I called home every single day, sometimes double, like twice. And you did
Sometimes
too. You would have
taking,
like 4 or 5 hour conversations with your like mom and dad and like your significant
yeah.
other. Like we
You
had
know,
time. Like
if I was calling them on the weekend and it was a day off, I knew that I was going to be on the phone for at least 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours easily.
yeah. So I never like
If it was
liked
a
when they said
weekday,
that.
30 minutes maybe, you know?
Yeah.
But that was my de-stressor, and
Me too.
I feel like people who like I guess maybe they didn't have that balance or were struggling to find that balance, but for me
Mhm.
it was like that's what kept me sane.
No, I agree. And like just like you said with the guest speakers, we will also take emails from you guys if you guys want us to discuss a specific topic. We will for sure bring it up. Like don't be like anything you want to know, we'll sneak it in like in any of our podcasts as if we can help you or not for it.
Yeah, if you guys have like any sort of questions, even if they're like specific targeted questions, what courses do I need to
Mhm.
take in undergrad?
Oh yes.
I'm trying to get into medical school.
Mhm.
What do I do? Who do I talk to?
Mhm.
If you like, I am in my family. I am the first doctor in my family. I don't, Dr. Bear. Are there any doctors in your family?
My aunt.
Okay, okay. But I mean, like for the most part, like for us, like this was us navigating things blind. We didn't have that guidance from
Yes.
anyone to tell us what courses to do in undergrad, what to do
No,
in,
I didn't because she didn't
you
study in
know.
this country. So I
Yeah,
had to figure it
exactly.
out. Like she didn't study in like these countries. So like we had to figure out the prerequisites and since we're both Canadians, like even we can talk about the loans, the Canadian loans, because it's a lot different and it's a lot of people don't know how that works as well. It's another whole
Definitely.
craziness.
We can go. We can give some input on like some like of the like you can get government-based loans as well as having to take
Mhm.
private loans.
Yes,
If that's something anybody has questions on, or even just
absolutely.
like um like you're gonna be able to hear about what our life was like on the island. We can answer
Yes.
questions about what material we used to study.
Hmm.
Personally, though, I wouldn't. I'm not one to talk about scores. I've never been that way ever in medical school. I
Too.
don't like
No, me too.
talking about my scores because a score doesn't define you. And I'm not saying this
Does
because
not.
I didn't do well. I will say I did quite well. I did exceptionally well in medical school, but I
Hmm.
don't want it to be like a bragging thing. I also don't want to like like everyone has their ups and downs. They'll have like good classes and bad classes, right? But that's something that personally like I'm not comfortable with speaking with. So like any questions about like what did you get? What is this? Like I wouldn't feel comfortable answering things like that, but things that are like anything that you need information on, like I would love to be a source of information or a go-to just to like kind of carry it on. Like don't want anyone to go into this as blindly as we did or like especially as
Yes.
blindly as I go into everything.
And also, we're like a little bit different because, like you said, you did exceptionally well for most of medical school, but I feel like I was more average and I had moments where I did shine, but average throughout, and it wasn't a bad thing. And of all the interviews that I've had, they don't bring it up and I don't think they care. So it's like for people out there who like got a specific score on a board exam and they want to give up, I'm telling you right now that don't listen to other people because like
You're not just a score. Yeah,
they don't care.
100%.
Like they really don't care. Like they literally just care if you passed it and moved on. And they never brought up anything for that. So like we're like a perfect example of like two different stories, but and both doing like exceptionally well. Hopefully,
Yes.
she's confident we're matching. We have like the similar number of interviews, but like where she's confident, and I'm gonna be confident just like you, Dr. Bunny.
Yeah. I think, I think you guys had a good understanding of what we're doing, and I think we'll kind of wrap this up here. Definitely
Yes.
hope to have some listeners, even if it's just like the two people that we told to listen to
Yes.
it. Thank you for listening to us.
Yes.
I really appreciate it, even if we don't have anyone listening to us but our friends. But like, thanks, guys.
Yes. We're
Thanks
signing
for
out.
thanks for coming to Docs Talk, and hopefully you'll be here
Yes.
for our next podcast where we will talk about the next podcast. We're going to talk about our first experience going downtown, and I say this with quotations, on the island.
Oh.
We'll talk about like island horror stories in our first
Okay.
semester and our first like month. Well, you know what? So much happened to me in the first month, so I feel like I have a plethora of stories just to talk about the first month on the
Yes.
island.
I am down, and it might be even split into two. And we will try our best to release one per week. That's our goal for now, but we'll see how that
Yes.
goes. All right, thanks for
Awesome. Thank you
listening.
guys so much for listening. Have a great rest of your evening, day, or whatever it may be.
Yep.